Hi everyone, this is Jess from Dre Computer Center, and now we're going to talk about OneNote and its use on the iPad. So, OneNote obviously looks very different from a lot of your other apps. It doesn't necessarily have that main homepage. As you know, you should think of it more as a notebook sort of thing because it's what you're going to use to take different notes and things like that. And it's actually pretty handy to have. So, obviously, this is kind of what your main screen is going to look like. It has a little side part for notes, and then it also has your notebooks here on the side. And you can also share your notebooks. So let's say if students wanted to create a notebook that they can share with the other students, maybe in one of their classes, so that they all kind of have the same notes. That's an option. So, we're going to start off on the right hand side. Well, I guess we should start with the menu since that's how I start on every other one. So, of course, you have your home menu up at the top. It's got your text tools, as well as a couple of different things. So, you can do kind of like tags and things like that, which I don't have any text to kind of show you how tags work, but tags in OneNote aren't necessarily searchable. So, like, you can use tags like a question mark or a star to mark maybe a note as important, or a question mark as maybe a question you need to ask during the next class. So, it's more of a visual seeing that and saying, oh, yes, that's important. But again, it's not something that you can search. So, then you have your insert tab. So, and what's neat in here, you can actually insert an audio clip. So, let's say if maybe there's a lecture and, maybe your friend who couldn't make it to class says, hey, can you ask the professor if you can record kind of their lecture and their talk and things like that. And of course, you have to make sure to ask the professor before you record them. But that's a file that you can keep for yourself in your own notes, especially if you're covering maybe a topic that you definitely want to have those in-depth notes on. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool option. You can add stickers if you want, pictures and things like that. So, of course, you'll have your standard drawing tool that goes very, very well with the Apple Pencil. So, it's kind of like your normal drawing tool within the other apps. And then view. So, you can, check your spelling on here. Maybe you want a different background color, or like let's say if you want lines or grids, you can insert that as well, which is pretty cool. And then of course, if it's maybe something like maybe with some passwords or things like that, which you really shouldn't write down anyways, but you have the option to protect some of your files with a password. But you have to make sure that whatever you protect it with, you remember that password. So, and then this other tab just kind of shows me what, it's got the review, distribute page. I haven't really looked into what these other tabs necessarily do, what these options do here. But I'm sure that they're pretty useful too within the app. So, and then you have your magnifying glass in the upper left hand corner, the undo and redo. You have a little notification guy, so just telling you what has been, like maybe what note you recently created or what's been accessed and things like that, especially through maybe some of your shared notebooks, although most students don't really go out and share their notebooks a whole lot. Again, you have your person with the little plus symbol, meaning you can share it. And then your gear button here, it's got a whole bunch of different things. So you can actually add it to quick notes. So there is a widget that you can turn on that actually, when you're on your home screen and you swipe left, you can actually do some little quick notes. So like a grocery list and things like that. You can do through this quick notes without having to actually go into the OneNote app to write all that stuff down. But you have sync, so basically all of these notebooks that you create will automatically save into OneDrive. So all of them will be saved there. That's where you can go and delete the notebooks, because you actually can't delete those through this app, which I'll explain a little bit later. But you can hit that sync tool so that it syncs between all of your devices and things like that. Again, the notifications, navigation. I don't know what the experimental features are, but I'd like to try it out. Has the little class notebook option. What's new, different things. So, and again, you can get help and support within that too. I'm sure the what's new would be pretty useful, especially if the app did some kind of update, and things like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and close that. So let's kind of talk about the layout of this. So basically on the left-handmost side, you're going to have your notebooks, which I kind of like to think of this and describe this sort of like a chapter book. So basically, the notebook section, which you can actually view those down at the bottom, it tells you kind of what part they are. So you have the notebook, which in essence would be the book. Then the section, so I would describe those as maybe different chapters within a chapter book. So, chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and things like that. And then the page, as well as in a book, it's just a page. And then the right-handmost side here is the actual note. So this would be, the actual words that are on that page. So I just like to think of it as a chapter book, just because then it makes more sense to me. But obviously in the notebook side, you can see all of your notebooks. You can also see notebooks that are shared. And again, if you hit more, you can actually go in and you can see which ones are shared with you, and things like that. And you can actually go and open different ones that are maybe saved in your OneDrive down at the bottom. So if you just wanted to create a new notebook, you would hit this little plus button next to notebook down at the bottom. And of course, you want to give your notebook a new name. You can change the color. And I believe they're going to automatically save to OneDrive. So there's really, because that's Microsoft as well. So of course they want you to use their platform. So that's where those notebooks are going to save. So, and again, from this app, you cannot delete your notebooks. You can, however, delete the sections in the pages and the notes. So don't think that you're stuck with these notes once they're in here. You can actually delete them from this app. It's just the notebooks that you have to go into OneDrive and delete through there. So this is kind of my testing notebook here, even though I do have one that's labeled test. So obviously if I want to add a new section, I can definitely add that. So I'm just going to call this, so we're just going to call that new part. So let's say if I press and hold on the different sections, you actually get some of the options down there at the bottom. So you get a little trash can, that's the delete symbol. That is move or copy. You can actually change the section color. So I guess if you want it maybe as a different color. I'm just curious because I haven't actually played around with the different colors, but as you can see, those little tabs on the side will change colors as you select it. So I like that color, we're just going to go with that. Or you can rename it as well, so in case you don't want it to be called new part. So we're going to, just for fun, change it to new thing. And the last option is the password protection. So just in case you decide that you want to go ahead and do that, you're more than welcome to. So, and then of course you'll get to your page or your note. So basically, so notice how it's labeled untitled at this point, because that title there actually gets the title from this page. So if you double click, you can edit that. And so as you can see, that page actually takes the name of what you type there. So, which is pretty convenient. And then of course you double tap to edit wherever you want in the file. You can pinch your fingers to resize if you want to, just in case you have a lot of notes and you definitely need to zoom out for that. But of course you'll get your normal options here as well. You can move and you can delete. And of course, to rename, you'll just go back in here and you can rename it through that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just kind of insert an audio clip to kind of show you guys how that feature works. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and it's going to date and timestamp it, which is pretty convenient, so that like, I took this Tuesday the 7th or something during your class time. And I'm sure you can change the audio name and stuff like that. I'm just going to leave it as is, but that nicely inserts itself into there. There's no exporting that you need to do with the file or anything like that. And then you can go back and you can play it. So that's a pretty convenient tool to use. Especially if maybe you think of something within your class, and or when you're maybe in your dorm and you want to remember that for tomorrow, and you can always just record yourself saying it too. So there's always that. So I'm actually gonna show you those little tags. So let's see here. So again, you want to be on your little home menu there. And the tag button is going to be the very last button there. Of course, it has tags, so it's got a bunch of different tags that you can select here. So it's got book to read, movie to see, password, idea with the little light bulb. Contact is another good one, especially because there are some apps where you can scan like some business cards and things like that into OneNote. so that's pretty neat. But you have your to-do check-off list. This is important, the question mark, for a question. So let's just do the to-do, and then of course you can check mark it as it's done. So that's be pretty nice for maybe a grocery list or something. Not that you would use OneNote for that, but you certainly have the option. So basically, OneNote is just a virtual notebook. So when I was a student, I wish I could have used this tool just a little bit more, because I think it's easier than trying to remember to bring the right notebook to class and things like that. So that's pretty cool. You can include maybe some different files that are stored in different drives as well, so you don't just have to pull files from one drive, so that's pretty nice. You can actually use OCR photos and things like that. So, and that is OCR is the optical character recognition. So basically, it's the conversion of pictures into text. So that basically, like, let me go back into my quick notes. So this is the nutrition label that I scanned on the side of a hot chocolate box, I believe. So what's pretty cool. So let's say if I'm in this note, right? So I can go up to the magnifying glass and I can actually search through all of my notebooks for certain words. So I'm going to search for the word foods. So, or actually let's do calories because that shows up a little bit more. So as you can see, what it does is it tells me what notes and what notebooks that word shows up in. I used to have a whole bunch of them, but now I just have this one, so which is the one that I'm in. But basically, as you can see, it highlighted those words within the document itself so that they were easy to find. And this is actually this is one of the top 5 rated apps for OCR and that technology, which is pretty cool. And it's pretty cool that our students have the access to that as well. So basically, things that you scan or things that you insert here, they're searchable, which is very, very cool. It's not just an image. It actually will see the text and the characters and know that those are words. So, and again, you can do that maybe with some business cards and things like that, which is pretty neat. So that's those are all my tips and tricks to using OneNote on the iPad.